Welcome along to our brand new podcast here on AFTV called Gunners Unfiltered. Turkish has an agenda against the owners of Arsenal Football Club.
How about we flip the script right now and change the
No, flip the script.
Open up your app now and let me put KFC in the search of transactions.
So if a man said to you, right, 3 years ago, what was it, 3 years ago, be excited, and you were, well, what's he done wrong?
Because once upon a time we was told compete with Bayern and Real Madrid and them.
And we are now.
Are we?
We've never spent that sort of money ever at this club, any owner, on a player, but we're going to give it to you. Do you give them any credit for that?
No. How much they paying you? I'm a man of the people. They want to know how much.
I've even seen people telling me, "Oh, Robbie, you work for the club."
No, that's 7 out of 10. You received something.
There we go, everyone. I actually messed up the intro. I messed it up. Oh, there you go, everywhere. There you go, everyone. The Gunners Unfiltered podcast, Wednesdays, 5 p.m. Go check it out. Robbie's sticking it on Turkish about the ownership. And yeah, Turkish asking some good questions back. Go ahead and watch it. We are live here, live for about the next hour. I'm keeping an eye on Baller League as well, because it's day one. They've had a few games already. I'm not going to lie. It's quite entertaining. There's some things I think football can learn from it. So if you don't know what that is, it's live on Sky Sports here in the UK, and it's basically been put together by influencers and former pros as well. We'll talk a little bit about that. Skelly gets another start for England. And as you can see in the title, should Saka be rushed back? Because this is a good debate that's kind of doing the rounds. I saw Dan Potts talking a lot about it on Football's 12th Man. And I want to actually explore this conversation as well. I might do some data on it on the Gooniverse. But let's see. I'm here with Jack. How are you, mate?
I'm good, thank you. I'm good. Well, ready to watch England and pray for no injuries. So we've got Rice and Lewis Skelly. So please, boys, just play 60, come off, get home.
That's the international break, isn't it, for you? I mean, we've had, I think Saka got a little injury in the international break back in the autumn. Odegaard, we know, had the big injury from an international break. So they've cursed us a little bit. But we are going to, discuss that. We're doing it from the position of very little information, admittedly. We want to explore this Saka thing and how we manage his injury. Everyone go give Jack a follow as well on TikTok. Remind me the @ as well. Sorry, Jack.
It's Jack Devonport 34, because I used to really like Francis Coquelin.
Is that why?
Yeah. Because it was like you've got to put a number in your name. And I was like, well, I kind of like Coquelin, so we'll go 34.
That's genius. Do you know what we did last night? Let me just check if it's out on AFTV. I don't think it is. I think it comes out later tonight. We did an Emirates draft. Yes, not out. Okay, brilliant. So I can tease it. So we did an Emirates era draft on Forever Arsenal. I think it's out tonight. And I won't spoil anything because basically, I won't say the names or whatever. I think someone's ended up with quite a balanced team, but maybe not enough superstars. Someone's ended up with a shocking defense, but like an unreal attack. Someone's ended up with a pretty good attack, unbelievable midfield, and then just nothing. Pretty good defense, unbelievable midfield, nothing in attack. And then someone's ended up with basically one or two goats and then just nothing else. So there's
Van Persie up front, and then like Squillaci, Johan Juru, Ignacio Mikel.
I don't want to spoil too much, but we're looking at that kind of thing. I tried to be a bit tactical with it, and I don't know how much it worked for me. So that will be out, everyone. Go check that out. And there will be a chance to actually vote, because whoever gets the least votes basically picks up. So I think 5 points for the winner, 3 points for second, 1 point for third, and 0 points for coming last. So everyone go check that out when it comes out on the channel. And the reason I bring that up as well, you said 34 because of Coquelin. Okay, slight spoiler, and I won't tell you what I did, but it's a slight spoiler. I had the choice of Diaby, Song, Coquelin to like complete my midfield.
Right.
It's a little spoiler for the episode, but it's very minor. Who would you have picked from Diaby, Song, and Coquelin?
If we're talking at their best, I'd have taken Diaby, right? Like I've seen him run through Anfield and sort of go through Gerrard's and sort of play a one-man midfield. But I don't know. Yeah, I'm going for Diaby.
Okay.
As much as I love Coquelin, right?
I like your thinking. That's all I'll say. I like your thinking. I won't say much more than that. But yeah, anyway, that's I'm looking forward to that coming out. Like I said, everyone, we are keeping an eye on Baller League. It's FC RTW versus MVPS United. I was watching a bit of United, which is Angry Ginger's team, and he was playing against, I think it was Jens Lehmann's team, N5, which I assume is Arsenal fans because of Jens Lehmann, the N5 name. That should be our team, right? But I think they got
I guess is Wright. You got a team in there, Ian Wright.
Oh yeah.
I think
Let's have a little look. I might even do they have? Oh, they've got a website. I might even share this. Let me see what information I can get on their website. Yeah, I think Wright is a team with Chloe Kelly.
Yes.
Big up Suge in the building, by the way.
That might be my team.
Yeah, do you know what? If Wrighty's got a team, you've got to support Wrighty's team. Yeah, my internet's a bit slow on that, so I might give that a go in a sec. But Sharky's got a team. I'm not actually sure whose teams are even playing right now, but I'm not gonna lie, it looks quite fun. Like I'm gonna say something, Jack, here, and I don't want to upset people when I say it. I think football has got a little bit, I don't want to say stale, but there's so much football. Coaches have really got a hold of it, and like players feel more robotic than ever before. And I think there's room for a little bit of a, I don't know, six-a-side, bit of fun, backed by kind of big personalities. You know, they've got things like the white flag, which is basically when they want to challenge something. So they brought the challenge system in before the Premier League. And I'm watching this. There's a one-on-one thing, which I think, and I might be mistaken, it's something to do with like if the ball goes out for a corner 3 times, you don't get a corner.
Yeah,
if it goes out,
you don't get corners. It's like every 3 times the ball goes behind the goal, you get like an MLS penalty.
Yeah, the one. And I think that's happening right now. I'm just keeping an eye, and then I need to look into all the rules. But it looks fun. I think football could do with an injection of something. Yeah, they're doing it. Okay, sorry, I don't know if anyone can watch this. So. Yeah, the guy, he's got the ball. He's on the halfway line. Oh, he's hit the crossbar. Oh, I see. So he's basically just taken a shot from a distance.
Yeah, I don't think there's any rebounds. So if AFTV were to enter the Ballers League, right?
Yeah.
Is it 5 or 6?
6 aside.
Right, so Cecil's in there. Curtis is in there. I've seen you at the Claw Cup.
I'm all right. People think I can't play.
I do think you fell over the ball. But
no, that was Harvey.
Oh, that was Harvey. Okay, so there's 3. Who else have we got?
I've never seen Turkish play, but he does play. Okay. Lead judges, obviously.
Ryan production.
Sorry?
You take Ryan from production?
Yeah, Ryan's a baller. Ryan played like.
There's our 6 then. I think he still plays. There's our 6.
Oh, I'll take that. Fine. I'm glad I made the cut. I didn't think I would. Yeah, this is looking quite fun. I'm not going to lie. They're just it's like one forward versus another forward, just shooting at the goals to each other. Yeah, I'm confused. Is it like a shootout? I don't know why they're both shooting. I don't know. I need to catch up on the rules properly. Oh, decent effort. Anyway, we're not here to talk about Baller League, but it's quite fun to kind of keep an eye on.
Tyres they're saying. They're saying get Tyres to go with the water bowls.
Big up Ty. Suge, man. I'm sure they'll do coverage. Tell Optus Sport to get the coverage out there in Oz, man. So Suge is living in Brisbane. Next time I come to Australia, and I really don't want it to be very long, I'm going to do more of Brisbane and go up the East Coast. Apparently the West Coast is beautiful as well, man. But anyway, Jack, sorry, total tangent. How are you, mate?
I'm good. I'm just praying for no injuries tonight, and then we've got our FA Cup weekend off, and then back to it. I'm trying to find that motivation for the important games that now aren't as important. Like me and you did Chelsea the other week, and we both just sort of looked at each other and were like, it is Arsenal Chelsea, but it's also like, It's 90 minutes.
It's really sad we're looking at it that way. I can't help but feel that like any big transfer development is sort of bigger than any kind of 3 points in the league.
Yeah.
And I know it's not. I know we still need to win our games, and I know everyone goes, well, you know, what's the difference between second and fourth? And I get that in theory, but also like I'll be pissed if we don't finish second. I mean, I'm already pissed we're not finishing first. Like, don't take the piss anymore. At the very least, you know, keep putting wins on the board and keep trying to entertain us. But more than anything, it's for momentum. It's for getting ready for Madrid, and we're going to talk about that and Saka being rushed. But I'm sort of with you. Like, there's an apathy around Arsenal, and I think Berta is an injection of something. I do think people are like, okay, that's good. But generally, like, you know, we just need the points to tick over. We need something special in the Champions League. I think that will reignite something. Luckily, I think it's a good thing that the first leg's at the Emirates.
You think you'd rather try and get the lead and then hold rather than damage the position and get back to our place?
It's not good from the perspective of, I don't know if this will make any sense. It's like, I could see us pulling a miracle out, beating them 2-1 at the Emirates, and then losing 3-0 away. Right? I could see something like that happening. But I sort of think we need an injection of something, and the best chance of that is at the Emirates.
It's at home, yeah.
I just so fear that we go into the first leg and come back to the Emirates with just too much work to do. And I think our season needs an injection of something. You know, I'd rather go this again. This might be like a really stupid thing to say, obviously, but I'd rather go to the Bernabeu 2-1 up in the second leg than go to the Emirates. No, I don't know if I meant that. I was going to say it would then go to the Emirates 1-1, but actually, I don't think I mean that, because yeah, that would be a very good position. I don't know. Look, either way, there's pros and cons, I suppose. What do you think of it?
I'm excited for the prospect of it, to be honest. But like you say, I think I get your point of ideally you want the home leg to be second, but just because of how things are going, maybe you want that injection of, you know, the crowd getting up for it, the Emirates, Real Madrid, like that big event. Maybe you want that first just to hype us up. And then maybe if we do pull off some miracle at the Emirates, then there's just a bit of momentum, a bit more hope going to the Bernabeu. But
yeah,
it's going to be. It's been so long since we've had these ties. It's just nice to have them back. Like even Bayern last year, I know we went out, but I remember getting the train with my dad and we lost 10-2 on aggregate 2 years in a row. And just sitting at them games 5-1 down already after the first leg, and it's been like, oh, no, we're not going any further. So it's just nice to be back where, are we going to beat them? It's stacked against us, but at least we're going into games like this and it's like it's a tie.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. It's almost like this is so defeatist, I know, and I really hope people don't actually think the way I'm thinking. But it's a little bit like if we were at our peak of our powers like last season, then I'd almost want, there we go. Sorry, my laptop's enjoying the thumbs up. Then I would almost want us to play the second leg at home, because I'd have like real belief we could go to the Bernabeu, do something, take it back to the Emirates, whatever. Mm-hmm. We're going there with Mikel Merino up front. Like, you know what I mean? I don't think we've won more than 3 games in a row in the Premier League all season. So we really are going there. Like, I basically what I'm trying to say is I'm glad that Emirates game starts 0-0. I'm glad it starts neutral. It's just like all the hope and possibility is open to us as they come to the Emirates. And hopefully that fuels us. And you never know. You win it, you know, you win it 2-1 or 1-0, or even if you draw 1-1, but you know what, you're really competitive, you're on the ball. You take some belief to the Bernabeu that, you know what, 90 minutes, we could do something. One thing they do need to change is they need to get rid of extra time. I don't think one team should have the benefit of an extra 30 minutes at home.
At your place,
Yeah, that's a rule that should have been changed ages ago. Along with away goals, I don't think the format has suffered for not having away goals. I think actually it's still been great. But that's one thing. Go straight to penalties. Already the away team the second home team gets the benefit of, you know, penalties in their stadium. So yeah, I don't know. But anyway, we sort of jumped ahead to Real Madrid and looking ahead to that. Let's come back to that. Let's put a pin in that for a sec. We want to talk about Bukayo Saka. Let's just quickly talk about England and Lewis Skelly before everything kicks off. Half an hour, I think, till kickoff.
Yeah.
And Lewis Skelly, that goal the other day, what did you make of it?
Perfect. Like, you know, when like I am 24, the kid is only 6 years younger than me or whatever. Like, he's not my son, but he feels like.
I hear it.
Yeah, he feels like he's one of us. Like, I feel like with everything that's happened in the past few weeks, we've all got so protective over him, and it was such a vindicating moment for him and for us. It's just so nice to see. Like, it's just so proud. Like, it feels weird to say you're proud of someone that's only like 6, 7 years younger than you, but I think we are.
Yeah. This season hasn't had a lot of highs, and him and Waneri are certainly two of them.
Mm-hmm.
It's also the ridiculous kind of coverage around him and the Wolves red card and the West Ham red card and the just the general coverage around him. I think has been utterly unacceptable. I did a video on the Gooniverse about it. Then to score at Wembley, the opening goal, the first goal of the Tuchel era, seeing him get the love, and also seeing him get the love, you know, players running up to him like Curtis Jones showing him a lot of love in the celebration for the goal, Dan Burn and him sort of taking that picture with the cap. I think sometimes we can, and we do this as fans, we get really in this world of like, oh, we're so hated. And our boys go off and they score for England and they're loved by Thomas Tuchel and then they're loved by their peers and other teammates. And that's like good to see as well. Like I enjoy that side of it.
Yeah, especially when it's like the younger group as well. You see how protective they are. Like you've got like your Curtis Jones and that, and your Declan Rice's were the younger players are now a bit more seen. Even Phil Foden, when I think he was the first one to sort of slap him on the back as he ran past. Yeah. And like you say, it's so, with the way the media's been with Lewis Skelly, it's so nice. It's almost poetic that happened. And it's just a reason for him to, again, just puff his chest out a little bit more and be like, okay, bit more adversity. Well, now I've got the first goal of the Tuchel era. And it isn't, Arsenal fans are trying to broadcast to the world that he's better. And, he scored the first England goal, have that. It's more just, we just want to boost our guy up just for what he's doing. And unfortunately, it doesn't even seem to be rival fans that aren't letting that happen. It's the mainstream media.
Yeah, I know what you mean. The coverage has wound me up. Speaking of, by the way, Baller League, another game's about to kick off. It's John Terry's side. I believe Jordan Ibe starts for them as well. So, another game getting ready to kick off here live on Sky Sports Mix. Is that the channel name? Yeah, Sky Sports Mix, I think. Looking like a really successful event, this. On Lewis Skelly, what did you make of the actual goal? Jude Bellingham twisting and turning and playing a pass like that. I mean, he's one of the most complete players in the world. Mm-hmm. But then it's Lewis Skelly doing on the overlap. It's going on the outside. And I look at it and I just go, Mikel, come on.
Yeah, it's Tuchel, isn't it? I mean, look at Chelsea. Was it Chilwell and James back then? Everything seemed to go. I know it was wing backs. He played a 5, not a 4, but he is so big on his fullbacks overlapping. And like you say, it's just that Arsenal are so bad against low blocks, and finally we watched an Arsenal player make a little dart in that gap between centre-back and full-back and received the incisive pass that an Odegaard can do. So the fact that we've now shown a pattern of play that can work, it's, just nice. A full-back overlapping is just not complicated.
Yeah. Why do you think we don't do enough of that?
I don't know, because I look so much at the best fullbacks in the Prem this season. You're looking at Anthony Robinson, overlap and cross. Kirkes, overlap and cross. It's like Lewis Hall, overlap and cross. But I think Arteta, he's got such a thing with control that he would rather have that body making that box midfield, get them next to Partey. So you've got Lewis Skelly, Partey, Rice, Odegaard. You've got that 4. You can control the middle of the park. I think he prefers that. Whereas there's a lot of managers now that are sort of working out that, especially with bigger strikers coming back, you can now go on the overlap and cross. We've almost come full circle where inverted fullbacks were the thing, but now you're seeing like your Haaland, your Isaacs, your Chris Woods, your Raul Jimenez, like the bigger blokes that now need service rather than playing to feet.
I hear that completely. I just wonder why you couldn't have an inverted fullback system and still mix it up sometimes. And I think Arteta, if you had him in a room, which would be a privilege. Mikel, if you ever want to come on AFTV, I think if you ever had him in a room, he would say, yeah, I do. I want them to do a bit of everything. I think when you look at the profile of players he signs, when you look at the various tactical instructions, he clearly wants his team and his players to do a lot of different things in games. But I think sometimes they're so coached to the point of like referring to the default, which is I'm an inverted fullback. I'm meant to tuck in. I'm meant to go to the overloaded midfield. And if you are going to have Lewis Skelly going on the overlap, well, you need probably Rice or Marino to drop in. You're going to need Martinelli or Trossard to tuck in the other way. And I just feel that I think, go through patterns so often that I think a free-flowing, perfect version of Arsenal would do that. I'll give you an example. Do you remember the 6-0 Sheffield United win last season?
Away, yeah.
Yeah, the away one. Do you remember there was one goal where I think we had the ball and Kivior went on the overlap and then he cut it straight back to, I can't remember, Martinelli.
It might have been Rice, maybe.
It might have been Rice. I can't remember. But that was Kivior on the overlap. You know, Zinchenko will sometimes, you know, go on the outside to whip a good ball into the box because Zinchenko's crossing is very underrated. But I feel like we don't see enough of that. And what I liked about the goal Lewis Skelly scored was Lewis Skelly was coming into midfield in the game. He was inverting for England a bit. But I liked that when he did hug the touchline, you know, Rashford had moved inside. And I thought, well, great, the shape. This is all stuff Arsenal can do. This isn't a 4-4-2. This isn't a back three with wing backs. This is all stuff that Arsenal could implement very easily.
Yeah, I think it comes down to us not sorting that left centre mid position still. I think if you go back, what was it, 22, 23 season? The right-hand side was Saka, White, Odegaard. They're your little combination there. And on the left, you had Zinchenko, whoever it may be, on left back. You had Granit Xhaka, who was also left-footed and wanted to get forward. And then you had Martinelli. But now, because that left centre mid now isn't a left-footed Xhaka and it's now Rice who wants to get into the box, you don't have that overlap. Like, how many goals did we score where Xhaka would appear on the left wing, get round the outside of Zinchenko tucking in and whip it for an Odegaard cutback? We just don't see that anymore because that left centre mid is now someone who wants to come inside, get in the box. It's just different patterns now. And I think it's been such a big thing over the past 3 years. You know, we didn't sort the left back for ages. Then we haven't sorted the left 8 for a while. Now the left wing needs an upgrade. So, yeah, I think it's hindered them all.
It's why I thought Marino would be more of a success because I thought he'd have been really suited to those angles and helped give us a little bit back that 22-23 Arsenal. But I completely agree with you. I also just remember another goal. Do you remember Nketiah's late winner against United, 3-2? Trossard has come on for his debut and he's driving at them and he moved the ball wide to Zinchenko, who cuts it back for, I think, Odegaard before Nketiah puts it back.
Yeah, he sort of stabs it over, doesn't it? Even that, I think, was it Wolves last season we scored 2. Even Chelsea, we scored 2 identical goals where someone got round the outside, whipped it to Odegaard, penalty spot, and he...
Xhaka, I think, did. I think Xhaka was one of them for sure.
Yeah, that's exactly the same. Yeah, 2 seasons ago, sorry. Yeah, Xhaka around the outside, cuts it back to Odegaard. And again, it's not having that left-footed, left centre mid, which, you know, we tried with Fabio Vieira, we tried with Havertz, we tried with Moreno, and it's just not... We've not found that one yet, annoyingly. And it now seems that Rice is going to be that guy. But again, that changes the whole sort of blueprint of the team.
I'm going to ask a question that's been asked 3,000 times on this channel, but you know what? Let's go 3,001. Declan Rice, is he a 6 or an 8 for you?
A 6.
Yeah. So does the Zubimendi stuff feel weird to you?
It does, but I also think the most stable Arsenal I've seen over the past couple of years was last year. We played Liverpool at home. We needed to win, and we went Jorginho, Rice, double pivot, freed up Odegaard. And then we pretty much saw out the whole season with either Jorginho Rice or Partey Rice. And they were kind of together, whereas this season he's reverted back to the Partey Rice in the 8. But I think everything Declan Rice has, attribute-wise, is perfect for a 6. Yes, he can drive forward and he can definitely add things as an 8, but some games when we're winning and we drop into a 6 late in the game, he just sweeps everything. Like Nottingham Forest away a few weeks ago, he sort of dropped into a 6 for part of that game. I think Partey wasn't playing, it was Jorginho, and he dropped in next to Jorginho and he was a monster the whole game. He's like an octopus.
I just think when you've got someone who wins the ball back to the level he does, I think you play him where he does that best work. The Zubimendi one is really interesting.
Sorry, especially when you've got like a fullback who wants to invert, you can vacate that space. There's nothing saying Rice can't be the 6, drive forward, and then Lewis Skelly just drops behind him, who is a natural 6. There's nothing saying that, Declan Rice is a 6, therefore I don't want you to go forward. I don't want you to pass. I don't want you to shoot. Like, we're not saying that. I just think he is so much better at that base than sort of trying to overcomplicate things.
Well, Rodri has played as a 6 and he gets goals. He crashes the box. He's able to play creative passes. And I get it. He wants more of a tempo dictator, Zubimendi. And look, while I think Rice is way, way, way too criticised for his ability on the ball, I think he's very good on the ball. I get it. He's not fluid like Partey is best. He's not as neat in possession as Jorginho is best. When you look at that second half Zubimendi had against England, could Rice come on and just grab the game like that? I don't think he dictates tempo, but I think he's very good on the ball. I think his range of passing is great. I think his switching is brilliant. And I think he dominates physically. I think he gives you control in another way, which is basically you can't get past him. So the Zubimendi stuff, if it's to go through, does feel interesting to me. I'm not quite sure what the long-term plan is, because if it is Zubimendi, Rice, Ødegaard, well, then all the pressure once again lands on Ødegaard to be the sole creator in this team. It basically will answer. Rice is, I know the numbers are there, but I don't think he's naturally creative, in my opinion. And I think we need someone who's got that little bit more guile. Now, I think Rice can be very effective and very good in the final third, but not to a level in which I would take him out of being a defensive midfielder.
I think he's one of the best 6s in the world and a very good 8. And that's where I'm just put him where you'll get the best out of him. But then you have the same question of, is Ødegaard a 10? Is he kind of an 8? You're saying about the creative burden. I'm not sure if he's necessarily that guy. No, I've watched a lot of your content, and it's sort of, I want an Ødegaard and a Wirtz, or I want an Ødegaard and someone else. And I think Arteta maybe feels the same, because we saw the Fabio Vieira. The vision was Fabio and Ødegaard, but obviously just didn't work. So again, maybe whether he's a little bit sort of, I've tried the 2 attacking 8s, it didn't work, or whether that was just a profile thing with Fabio.
I think it's a quality thing. He tried it with Smith Rowe, Ødegaard, and Partey for a little bit, and I think it was just quality. I think Smith Rowe, Vieira just aren't at the level to start week in, week out. The problem is when you get, and I feel harsh using the word subpar, but that's what it is. When you get subpar to step in and do something that you're hoping takes it to an elite level and it doesn't really work, it's like, well, yeah, but why don't you get the actual key cogs in place? Because take Fabio Vieira. I mean, I'm just sort of making something up, right? Let's say we signed Florian Wirtz. I don't think it's going to happen. Let's just imagine a world in which we did. And you're playing Wirtz, Rice, and Ødegaard. You've got 3 class players there who are, Ødegaard can dictate a game, Rice is a brilliant ball winner, and Wirtz is, he's just so effective in the final third. Brilliant guile, lovely player. So you play with those 3, yeah? I can imagine if you figured that out, and then Ødegaard needs to sit out so Vieira could come in, I could see Vieira maybe looking all right. More up to speed than he did when he was coming into a midfield. Where I was like, oh, we're taking Xhaka out and we're putting Vieira in and we're hoping for the same. They're very different. They were always going to play that position differently. So that's what I think is a bit strange in the way Arteta's kind of tried to build that midfield when he hasn't really had the components to do it.
Yeah, and it is sort of just changing every once in a while. Like there'll be like this era of, we're going with the box crashing 8. I want my Xhaka to become a Havertz, who's just a little bit taller and a bit more combative. I want 4-4-2 on the ball, get in there, just be my Fellaini or whatever he's got. Say he's a student of Pep, he's a student of David Moyes, and then it was the double attacking 8. So tried that. Then it was the 2 6s and the 3-10. Like he is trying to figure something out. But I agree with you. I do think it is get Rice in the 6, because he's almost a player and a half legs wise. So if you can do that, why not leave him as a lone 6? That gives you the freedom to play a bit further forward. Like if it was Jorginho was our 6, I would understand the whole look. He's not got the legs to hold that on his own. But look, when you've got Declan Rice, that frees you up so much. It's something we've got to take advantage of. But again, it's what's available in the market, what can we afford? And we've definitely got bigger things to address than another midfielder, in my opinion.
What about the 10, though?
again, it's in my list, but I'm having a striker first and then a left winger. And then once you've sorted them two out to world-class-ish level that we need, what have you got left money-wise?
Well, no, I mean, that's the big question, right?
That's the problem. It's kicking the can down the road for so long. We've now got so much to address in one window.
So the funds thing, I totally hear you on. I mean, forget what expectations you have of Arsenal. We just know what this club are like. For me, it goes striker, then 10, then left winger. Because I believe that, I'll tell you why. Because I believe a world-class 9 or a top-class 9 or a very good 9, with another creative player in there. So let's make up a world where it's Gyökeres and Wirtz, right? Or Saka and Gibbs-White, or I don't know, right? I'm just making up names and people will say I'm dreaming in the comments, that's fine. But let's say you get serious caliber 10 and striker. I think Trossard and Martinelli, though it's not ideal, I think they can go another year. I think they would be lifted by Lewis Skelly being a starter week in, week out, another proper midfielder coming in, and a proper 9 too. I think what we forget is how much when Gabby Jesus came in at the start, how much he lifted Saka and Martinelli. Like he brought them to life. And I don't think Arteta hates that. I don't think Arteta looks back at that and goes, oh, that, that team wasn't quite ready. I think he loves that element of what we did. But he's just constantly trying to find that balance between being pragmatic, controlling games, blah, blah. I think a really top striker kind of brings them to life a little bit. I think a 10 certainly does. So I would rather go another season with Martinelli and Trossard trying to give it a go, but with better attacking players and attacking flair around them, then you'd add a good left winger. You'd have a top class left winger. But the midfield options still feel quite one-dimensional. It still feels like, what would be left with? Zubimendi maybe, Rice, Marino and Ødegaard. Okay, Waneri could play in there, but then who's your backup on the right? I think we need them.
Yeah, that's the problem with, again, I've heard you say it so many times, just kicking the can down the road.
It is massively.
If we got a striker sort of 2 windows ago and a left winger 1 window ago, and we'd addressed the Partey Jorginho contract thing, we'd be going into the summer saying, cool, we need 1 thing, maybe 2. But now it's like, okay, top class striker, top class left winger, a 10. Both our 6s are leaving, so we probably need another body there. If Kivior goes, we need to replace that just as a body. If Zinni goes, maybe there's another one. Like there's so much to do this summer. And the one thing I really don't want Arsenal to do is just please don't compromise on quality. Please don't go out there and be like, well, we need like 7 players, so I'm going to get you like a 50 mil striker, a 40 mil winger, like some cheap backup centre-back that I found somewhere in like the Italian leagues. Just don't compromise, which it scares me that they're going to do.
Yeah, I'm so with you. I'd sort of rather you got 3 top class players than 4 or 5 that weren't quite first choice. The squad's not in a terrible shape. I think we underestimate how much even one player, but let's say 2 players can just lift a whole squad because of their quality, and it brings another level out of everyone else. It's SDS, by the way. It's SDS FC versus the 26ers. So this is Sharky's team against John Terry's side. It's 1-1 after nearly 9 minutes played, and I get why they're called the 26ers now, obviously because of the number 26 that Terry famously wore at Chelsea. It's cool, they're in their green and black kit, the SDS side, and they are up against it's so sick that Sharky got an SDS football team together.
Football team in there.
Fair play. And the 26ers are in blue, as you would expect. And 1-1. So, but they might score here. Oh, SDS nearly scored. This is great. I love this. Anyway, right, everyone, we've waffled on long enough. So let's take your super chats quickly. And then we will end on the main meat of the show, which is the conversation around Bukayo Saka. So Don Tony Pulis says, United, clearly an angry Ginge fan there. Suge says, do you think we can get Hall from Newcastle and then it would free Lewis Skelly to move to the left? I see future midfield, Rice, Lewis Skelly, Waneri. I mean, that'd be an unbelievable midfield. But no, I don't think we could get Lewis Hall right now. I don't think he's been at Newcastle very long. I think he's a boyhood Newcastle fan, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he was at Chelsea, wasn't he? And it made that move.
Yeah, and also I think there's an exciting project there. I think the only players you're getting from Newcastle, their top players like a Guimaraes or Isak, are the ones you're doing for an extraordinary fee, with them having been at the club 3.5, 4 years and wanting a change or wanting Champions League football. I think that's how you're going to get. Those are the kind of players you might get. I don't see, and even then it would cost an arm and a leg, and you still probably wouldn't get them. That's my feeling on it. What do you think, Jack?
Yeah, I'm the same. I mean, there's been a lot of talk about Isak, and I don't want to say entitlement. I feel like that's kind of the wrong word, but I do feel like there's a lot of Arsenal fans that are sort of sitting there and being like, if we put the money down, he'll jump at the chance. I don't think it's that simple. I think he's just won their first trophy in ages. He's scored. He's loved by them. He's loved in the city. Like Newcastle, when you're loved by the club, is a great place to live. They're probably going to get Champions League football.
Yeah.
And I saw people saying like, they can offer Champions League football, but not competitiveness. Well, we've never won it before. So I think it is going to be very much if you want to get Alexander Isak from Arsenal, you need to go there. You need to slap at least 130 million on the table. You need them to not get Champions League football. You also need him to be unhappy and force the move. I think there's so many cogs that need to happen. It's not as simple as, well, he plays a little bit like Thierry Henry and he wears the 14. So if we just throw a bit of money at him, he'll run to the Emirates. Like, I don't think it's that simple, but I would love to see it happen.
SDS, a 2-1 up, by the way. Really lovely goal. I think I'm going to get into this. And Eberechi Eze, I'm sure it's not the real Eze, but if it is you, please join us. Then he scored the 26ers. Why would you clash with Baller League? I know, I'm sorry. But I hope you're enjoying both the live and Baller League as well. Right. Okay. The big question. And Ryan is absolutely right to say this. Everyone got the likes up, people. Hope you are enjoying the live stream. We're live at 7 p.m. every day on AFTV. I wanted to, the Saka debate. I know everyone, we've talked about a lot of stuff before coming to this. The question is, how fit is he? What was he? Has he been training for 2 weeks and we don't know it because Arteta keeps everything very kind of internal to himself, or within the club, and nothing leaks? Or is it a case of like he is literally being declared fit to play in the days before Madrid? And if that's the case, do we really want to be risking it? Well, what do you think, Jack? What's your kind of feeling on it all?
I mean, my feeling first of all is, again, we don't know how fit he is. We can say so much, but we don't actually know. But I would hate to see a world, and someone brought this up on, I think it was Supporters Club the other day. What happens if we rush Saka back, scrape through Madrid, and then he's unavailable for PSG? Like, there is a bigger picture here of, you can rush him back for this game, but if we win this game, there's going to be another game. Like, you don't want to. And also, do you know what? I've spent my day looking at Michael Owen and sort of rushing him back and how his career's gone. I'd hate to ruin Saka. And I know that sounds like a really harsh word, but if you force someone back from hamstring surgery, then there's so much that can sort of spiral from that. Look, he'll want to play Real Madrid and he'll know himself whether he's available. But for me, get him on the bench, bring him on. I wouldn't throw him in because he certainly won't be fit for 90 minutes, I think, regardless of whether he's fit to play or not.
So, so there's this from Ruax. Hope I pronounced it correctly. He says, hope you can get an injury at any time. And, I hear a lot of this stuff. And I tell you why I really dislike, I respect the comment and I get the points being made. But I tell you why I really dislike this kind of comment, right? And this kind of outlook on it is, okay, but like, we know that you can get injured walking down the street. You can get injured doing your day-to-day stuff. You can get injured in training. You can get injured playing a football match. But there are 100% things you can do to be more preventative of injuries, to look after your player, especially in the red zone. And I've been saying for ages, and no, I'm not a physio. No, I never trained or did, doctor school or whatever, right? But the amount of football Bukayo Saka was playing at his young age, I just think it was bound to happen. And for people who go, he could have torn his hamstring at any point. He picked up an injury in the international break as well. And I don't think he played on the final game of the season, if I'm not mistaken. The Everton home game, when the final day But we hoped
Martinelli
to win the
played on
league,
the
all
right.
right? He didn't play that.
Yeah, Martinelli played on the right, and then it was
So
it was this season,
we
wasn't
didn't
it?
want him available.
Yeah, he got injured for
What's that?
England. And he missed Bournemouth away, right, this season after the international break.
Bournemouth away in the Champions League as well, yeah.
Yeah. So again, my thing with it is if it was anything other than a hamstring, I'm more okay to bring him back. Like if he'd done his knee or his ankle or something like that, I'm like, okay, you can get injections, you can play through that. Like it's going to be a pain thing, but you'll be fine. But an explosive winger and a hamstring injury, that's not the one you force back for me, because again, that's the one that you sprint with. So anytime he launches off, that's putting a force on his hamstring. So that's the factor for me, is that it's his hamstring.
Yeah, I totally hear that. And I just think, we've had evidence there. I've just mentioned sort of 3 injuries in the last, calendar year. Okay, 2 of them weren't major, but they were injuries, and he's played a lot of football now. Do you think Arsenal would risk him, is the question? Do you think if he's sort of declared, let's say he passes all the fitness tests and, they do what they need to do, and they see the tests show, yes, this guy is fit to play football against Real Madrid, but he hasn't really kicked the ball properly in the Premier League. He hasn't really started a game or made more than a few sub appearances. If that's the case, do you think, forget what we would do you think Arsenal would risk it? Do you think Arteta and the medical team would say, yeah, we're gonna go for it because it's worth it because it's Real Madrid?
100%, and I'll spin it back to you.
Oh, really?
Yeah, 100% they will, and I'll spin it back to you. Of if you're Bukayo Saka and you've had an injury, and I come up to you and go, "We're playing Real Madrid in a couple of days, probably the biggest game of your career so far. Do you reckon you could play, mate?" What are you going to say?
Yeah, you're going to say yes, you can.
You're going to say yes, Gaffer. I'm absolutely fine.
You've touched on something and a very underrated aspect of this. Okay, physios can do their tests and the scans, whatever they want, but there gets to a point where it's just the player and what he's feeling and what he's saying. SDS has scored again, and when that's the case, good luck trying to tell Bukayo Saka no.
Yeah.
Good luck telling him no.
Yeah, you go back earlier in the season as well. I mean, someone in the chat might be able to say how many days it was, but Liverpool at home, he was injured, not going to make the game, starts. What was that? Was that 1 day training maybe? That was very much, we don't think he's even going to be in the squad, and then he just starts. I don't know if he played 90, but...
What a goal he scored as well.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. If he did that again.
For a while after that. He did stay fit for a while after that.
But
you're right, an underrated part of this is Saka might feel a little something. It's not quite as elastic as he wants, and he's not quite as healed up or whatever. But he might just say, "I want to play," and he might just tell them he's fine because it's Real Madrid.
Yeah, Real Madrid. There's no way you feel a little twinge and go, I might give this one a miss, because he wants Arsenal to win and he wants to play against Real Madrid. That there's no downside to it. So he's probably like, yeah, I'll be fine. If I feel it after 10 minutes, I'll just put my hand up and go off. And obviously that's when you're putting a risk. But there's no way Bukayo Saka turns around to Arteta and goes, maybe it is safe if we give it a miss for this one.
So what would you do? Okay, let me make a scenario, yeah? Well, we've got Fulham at home, Everton away, and then Real Madrid, right? That's the list of games. So let's imagine a world in which he's on the bench for Fulham at home. He's come on for 10 minutes. He's on the bench for Everton away. He's come on for 25 minutes. Now Real Madrid's come around. Would you start him?
Is Madrid after Fulham the first leg?
I thought it went Fulham, Everton, Madrid, but I might be completely wrong.
Anyway, I think if you can get him on the bench.
It is Fulham at home. Yeah, so Fulham at home on Tuesday the 1st, Everton away on April the 5th, and then 8th of April at the Emirates, Arsenal versus Real Madrid.
Yeah, so if he's got minutes in his legs off the bench, I'm more than okay to start him. If he's not even in the squads, then I wouldn't throw him in, though. He makes the bench for Madrid if he can. Because I think a lot of the reports I've seen is he's targeting a return for Madrid, sort of hinting that we're not going to see him Fulham, not going to see him Everton. So look, minutes in the legs before the Madrid game, fine to start. I wouldn't throw him straight in after what was it been 4 months, if that is to be his first game. Again, I've seen some people in the chat as well making good points. There's some people in the chat making good points, being like,
"Oh yeah, go on.
We're Arsenal fans and we want to win, but we don't want to risk a guy's career for a game against Madrid." And there is that aspect as well of, we've seen players before. I mentioned Michael Owen before. He said so many times about how he got rushed back for big games because Liverpool were falling out of title races, and he's gone on record and said, "I've never ever felt the same. I got forced back. It was my hamstring. I felt like I had to help the team win. I wasn't really confident to sprint and jump off my left leg." And the only reassuring thing there is I don't think he had surgery.
Yeah, that's fine.
The only difference is I feel like once you've had surgery and it's been properly fixed, your sort of return dates, your timelines were a little bit safer than whenever it feels better.
I think the perfect scenario is, look, I'd be amazed if Saka's like starting against Fulham and Everton. I don't think he will be. So I think the perfect realistic scenario, of which a lot of this we won't actually even really know the answer to, is that he gets the minutes I suggested, 10 minutes against Fulham, 30 minutes against Everton. Let's say he gets those sub appearances. But the other thing is that Bukayo Saka says he's fine and genuinely is. Like, if he sat there going, "Guys, I'm fine. Surgery worked. I took my rest. I've come on in games. The hamstring feels fine. I'm stretching it. I'm good." Then, that's what Mikel Arteta's getting from Bukayo, and the medical team are getting that too. Then it's a yes. But I think if there's anything that just suggests he's remotely not 100%, even just goes bit tight, think I'm still getting used to, first team football. Okay, cool. But we'll bring you back when you're ready. I think that's something, whether Arsenal have overplayed players or not is a good debate and question, which I've more than leveled at Arteta. I definitely think there's some praise to be given for the way they take their time bringing players back. I do actually think when you look at Ben White, Thomas Partey last season, and a few others, I do actually think there is Gabby Jesus. I do think they do manage players and their return quite well.
Yeah, I think they've definitely learned from before. I don't know if you remember, Partey was injured, came back for North London derby, sort of limped, and then ended up limping off the pitch. Arteta shoved him back on. We conceded. Yeah. That was all a bit of a forcing players back. I do think he's learned from that.
Wasn't it?
Yeah, he's definitely learned. And like you say, it's going to be down to him. We only know so much. Physios and scans can only feel so much. And that's why I agree with you that I'd love to see him get some minutes beforehand, because if he can play 20 minutes against Everton, he can come off and say, right, I've played 20 minmente of Premier League, high-intensity football. It feels fine, because you can't replicate that in the gym. You can't replicate that in training. So I would want him to have minutes in his legs before we throw him into anything. But like you say, that's sort of perfect scenario is that he's fit for...
I agree with what you're saying there. I mean, Ethan Nwaneri makes this problem a touch more stomachable, because I'm of the belief that you're not beating Real Madrid and Mikel Merino up front. If I'm wrong and this gets clipped up, you think I care? We've just beaten Real Madrid, right? So I don't think you beat Real Madrid with Merino up front. I'm not saying in one game. Listen, football's a funny old game. I'm talking over 2 legs. You need more dynamism in your front three. You need more class. You need more quality. You need to strike more fear in the opposition. So I could see a world in which at the Emirates, you know what? Martinelli on the left, Trossard up front, Nwaneri on the right. Does it have its problems? Well, you've got one of the most out-of-form left wingers. You've got a winger playing up front, and you've got a 17-year-old on the right. Yes, it's far from a perfect front three, but at least it feels balanced. At least it feels cohesive. At least it feels like they could each somewhat play with one another, and you get something out of that. I think if you did that and you saved Saka just one more week and brought him to the Bernabeu, then that's different. If he's getting those sort of sub-appearances against Fulham and Everton, but Nwaneri's cooking and looking good, then I think you stick with Nwaneri and you hope the Saka can just do a big job at the Bernabeu for you.
Mm-hmm. So is that your preferred front three? Are you saying... Because, I mean, Martinelli coming back is another thing that sort of helped the problem a little bit. Are you... Martinelli,
how do you think Martinelli did? We did the game together. How do you think he did against Chelsea?
I think it was the same old problems. He's so direct, like almost the fact that he is raw and maybe doesn't have the best footballing IQ is almost his biggest compliment, because the amount of times he got the ball down and just ran straight at Cucurella before he had time to set himself or prepare, or you expect him to pass and he just runs directly at you. But it kind of gets figured out after the first couple of times. I think he got to the byline, got a couple of nice crosses in, and then after that it was just, oh well, I know he can't cut inside, so if I just sort of shepherd him and then just get a foot in, I'm just not a fan of him on that right hand side.
I don't like him on the right. I actually think he's quite good at dragging it onto his left foot and digging out across. So I think he's a bit more unpredictable on the left, and when he is cutting inside, he's on a stronger foot. But we haven't seen that killer version of Martinelli for a while. So I agree. I think Waneri, Trossard, Martinelli is looking, with all the information we have right now, is looking like my preferred front three for the game against Madrid. But if Saka, like we said, gets those important minutes, then yeah, absolutely. I think if he's fit and ready to go, I don't really buy into this. We'll look at the long term. We'll look at next season. If he is declared fit and he feels fit, there's nothing else to it. He's fit. Okay, quite match sharpness and all that. That's a fair question. But this is Real Madrid. I mean, how often are you playing them in the Champions League? And we have nothing else to play for this season. And I keep saying that I don't want to piss away this season. I think the ownership did with what was a shambolic January. But largely, no, I think you've got to kind of keep going in the hope that something kind of special does happen. And I don't really agree with things like this. Leave Saka till next season. Again, if he's fit, he's fit. That's just how I see it. What I wouldn't do is, if he's on the bench for Real Madrid in the first leg and we lose 2-0 at home, I wouldn't play him in the second leg. At that point, I just think, well, at that point, the damage is done, and you got to hope that the players you've got bail you out. But yeah, those are my thoughts. England have kicked off, I believe, with Lewis Skelly starting. Who's he playing with? Did he make any changes to the 11?
A few, yeah, because I think there's a couple of injuries, isn't there? Who is it? So Morgan Rogers, Bowen, Mark Gay, Ezri Konsa, Reece James is in at right back. So
fascinating 11 this. Yeah, so Gay's come in with James right back. Yeah, so he's gone for Bellingham and Rice together as a double pivot. I like that because I think Bellingham is quite a complete midfielder and could play in a slightly deeper role, though a lot of people don't think so. Rogers, good to see him getting football with the national team. Bowen, I think, is a class player. Clearly wants to persist a little bit with Rashford, which is probably fair enough. Foden demoted to the bench. I think Anthony Gordon's not on the bench. Is he one of the injuries then?
Who, sorry?
Gordon.
Yes, he went off in the first game, and then someone else got left out of this one. But I think it sort of makes a good point of what you were saying earlier about when we talk about Arsenal's midfield, of having a Rice in there with a Bellingham and a Rodgers. So you've got your six, you've got your box-to-box sort of lanky glides through midfield, and then you've got your Maverick. You've got those three. So I think it bodes well for what we were saying earlier about what we want to see from Rice and what we want to see from Arsenal. Is that obviously Tuchel's trying something pretty similar.
I think Bellingham, again, using the word profile, I think in that sense, Bellingham's perfect. I mean, forget the quality. We know plays for Real Madrid. I get all that. But that kind of can pick a pass, can cover every blade of grass, can, receive the ball from deep, can be effective in the final third. I think there's another goal. Who scored? SDS again. Wow, they're killing the 26ers. Looking good here. Sharky will be happy. I think Turkish is there watching it. Oh, really good goal. Actually, no, the keeper should have saved it. Still a good goal. But yeah, anyway, let's see. Let's see what happens with Real Madrid. Let's get some predictions, mate. First and second leg. What are your predictions?
Do I want to get clipped up and put all over Twitter, or do I want to?
Green.
Yeah. I realistically think we can scum a 1-1 at the Emirates somehow, some way. Just use electric atmosphere, dark arts and corners, and then I don't think we do it at the Bernabeu.
I weirdly think we could by complete fraudulence, win at the Emirates 2-1. Just something like a set piece, like a nice goal on the counter, something like that. But I think we'll like lose 3-0 at the Bernabeu. You know what I mean? I think it will be like quite comprehensive in the end. But I could see us having like the one night at the Emirates before ultimately all goes wrong, basically.
The Bernabeu's one of them grounds that if it swallows you up, it swallows you up. Like, you are in serious trouble if you go sort of a goal down or things stop going your way. But what happened last time?
A lot of it depends on Saka's availability. A lot of it depends on, Trossard and the false nine, or is it Marino, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I sort of like this kind of is a bit more nuts than what I was saying, but like I could see us like maybe nicking it 1-0 at home and defending for our lives and doing something pretty spectacular, and then just the Bernabeu, we've sort of just got nothing left. But Ryan thinks we'll do it 2-1 at home, 1-1 away. Have faith, he says. Let's see. Suja's going for 2-2 at the Emirates. Who do you think is going to win the Champions League? Do you have anyone you're sort of really tipping to do it?
I think it'll be an El Clasico final.
Really?
I'd love to see PSG do it though. My thing it's always been I don't like the fact that they're just trying to bankroll their way to finally winning it. But now they've done this whole let's buy young French talent. I kind of want to see them do it. But I've just got up the Arsenal lineup of last time we played Madrid. And I mean, they had sort of the reverse problems of just no defenders, but we had the attack. I mean, can you guess our back five from when we went to the Bernabeu? Who kept a clean sheet at the Bernabeu?
So Lehmann in goal.
Yeah.
I actually genuinely don't know this, by the way, so I'm guessing. I'm going to go Boué.
Mm-hmm.
Campbell.
No.
Senderos.
Yeah.
Oh my word. I know it was Flamini left back.
Yeah.
So the other centre back, I'm going Toure.
Yeah.
Boué, Senderos, Toure, Flamini.
With Gilberto.
Okay, midfield, I'm going Fabregas.
Yeah.
Gilberto.
Yeah.
On the left, I'm going Pires.
Nope.
Hleb.
Hleb's in there, yeah.
On the right, was he?
He was sort of in midfield. So you've still got the two wingers and obviously Henry.
So Henry, so Hleb behind Henry.
Yeah.
Right and left. Lundberg on the right.
Mm-hmm.
And the left one is stump me.
Spanish.
Reyes.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
And then we brought on Abu Diaby, Perez, and Alex Song to see it out.
Alex Song came on.
And they brought on Raul, had R9, Zidane, Guti, Beckham, Robinho, Carlos, Ramos, Casillas. So look, we've done it before.
Hey. Things we had Thierry, man. But yeah.
We got Mika Moreno.
Yeah. That, I mean, obviously.
I'm guessing you saw the photo that Kane put on AFTV of Henry with Mika Moreno's face over him and Saka in the background.
Kane is trouble. All right, we're going to leave it there, people. I think I'd like to see this as well. Barcelona, PSG. I really like both their teams, the technicians, the quality. Be a big story for a lot of players like Barcola, Rafinha, Yamal.
Dembele back at Barca.
Yeah, Dembele.
Indication of like I wasn't finished.
Yeah, you got who you got? You got lots of Neves, Vitinha. There's a lot of players I really like. Marquinhos, who's been at PSG such a long time. I know what you mean. Luis Enrique, I think, is just not only a top manager but a top bloke. Like I think what he's got through over the years. Hansi Flick as well. I think because it didn't really happen for him at Germany, did it? Was he the German manager?
Who? Flick? Yeah. Yes, I think so.
If I'm not mistaken, it didn't really happen for him. But he's at Barcelona. Is this his first season with Barca?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because all the talk in the summer was sort of that, if he could have gone Man United. You know, when Man United was sort of flirting with like, oh, we could get Tuchel, we could get Flick, and then they ended up getting neither.
Yeah, it's typical.
But someone said like Wanyeri scoring. I'm just trying
Fair enough.
He's just scored.
Yeah. I think England on 21s must be playing. So fair play to him. All right, we're going to round off the stream there. Jack, a big thank you for joining me. Big thanks to everyone in the comments for joining us. Hit the like button if you did enjoy it, and do subscribe to the channel. Go check out Jack at Jack Devonport 34 on TikTok. I remembered. And we've got the Gooniverse and the Gooniverse 2 for instant reaction. Second channel for just instant reaction to news as and when it happens. But go check that all out, people. And yeah, there'll be Forever Arsenal, I believe, out tonight, I think. If not, tomorrow I need to check when it is. But yeah, Forever Arsenal draft is coming. So check out that Turkish and Robbie show, which I believe there'll be a trailer for. Now, no, there isn't. Well, we'll make sure there is. Let's get it set up. You will have one to watch now as I set it up. Everyone catch it.
Welcome along to our brand new podcast here on AFTV called Gunners Unfiltered. Turkish has an agenda against the owners of Arsenal Football Club.
How about we flip the script right now and change it?
No, flip the script.
Open up your app now and let me put KSC in the search of transactions.
So if a man said to you, right, 3 years ago, that was it, 3 years ago, be excited, and you were. Well, what's he done wrong?
Because once upon a time we was told compete with Bayern and Real Madrid and them.
And we are now.
Are we?
We've never spent that sort of money ever at this club, any owner, on a player, but we're going to give it to you. Do you give them any credit for that?
No. How much they paying you? I'm a man of the people. They want to know how much.
I've even seen people telling me, "Oh, Robbie, you work for the club."
No, that's 7 out of 10. You received something.